What is one thing that's like super boring about you and one thing that's really interesting about you?
Super boring about me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a morning person, I guess. I have brown hair.
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
that you're not a morning person, but you're still here. So thank you.
yeah. I'm still here. I mean, I appreciate it, but I'm
Yeah.
usually not at this time by choice. Um, yeah, it's interesting. I think probably that I'm a digital artist. I'm a graphic designer for work, and I also do like digital illustrations and Photoshop and other painter programs. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah, and you're also really good at it. I've gotten to see a lot of your work that you've created, and I don't know if I've expressed this sentiment enough, but I've been very jealous, especially as I've tried to step into creating illustrations. I'm like, man, how the freak is she so fast at doing this, and like really talented at creating these like beautiful scenes or drawings of people. You do a really good job. So
Yeah,
I'm grateful for the work that you've done.
thanks. I appreciate that. It's definitely just a lot of doing it over the years, and even Victor, when Victor was working at FinFund, I would look at like his backgrounds are so amazing, and I'm like, how did you do this? And I was so envious and like
Yeah.
jealous, and like, show me your secrets. What is
Yeah.
your secret to do this? Yeah, it's definitely just a process, and I don't know, like Photoshop tricks or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like you would have a unique perspective on this topic of light and dark, because you have to pay so close attention to how it actually operates aesthetically in your compositions. So what is your perspective on darkness and light and the definition of it, and what it means to you metaphorically?
Darkness and light. Yeah, it's definitely something that they complement each other. Looking at it from like an artistic perspective, it's definitely something that you kind of need like an equal amount or something. I don't know. Um, uh, it's I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain for me, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Other than the fact that they just need to balance each other. I don't know.
Yeah. So balance. I've been learning a little bit about the yin yang symbol, and kind of the different meanings behind it. And man, that thing is just steeped with meaning. But one of
Is it that you
the
said?
the yin yang symbol is just steeped with meaning.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it seems like a perfect representation of that balance between light and dark. So I like
Mm-hmm.
that it's a graphic that represents that. So
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like the fork too, right?
yeah,
In
yeah,
Star
that's right. Yeah, the force, light and dark, right? So
Wars.
have you ever experienced a sunrise in your life metaphorically?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like metaphorically sunrises are kind of like a realization, I guess. Maybe like something that you kind of get in increments, like a visceral feeling or subtle feeling that slowly comes to you, and then it's like all of a sudden it's like, obviously this is something that's true, and and you can't realize, you can't understand why you didn't see it before. Like metaphorically, yeah, I experienced stuff like that, like on a small scale, like when I'm just working on a painting, something small like that, and I'm just really frustrated and I don't know what to do with it. And I just stop and then I come back to it and it's like, oh, it's obviously like this solution you just can't really see it because it's so muddled until you have to like take a step back, and then when you come back to it, it's I don't know, it's like really obvious.
So for you, part of the process is taking that step back, though. It's not like you could continue trying to work on it or even force it in order to get the same effect.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely, you definitely need like some space to breathe. I feel like when you go too hard and you get kind of like clouded by other emotions, you like get frustrated and angry, then you can't really see anything else.
Yeah, I can attest to that too. Actually, I've had plenty of projects that I've worked on where as soon as frustration stepped in, it kind of tainted the experience and didn't feel like I was really seeing the best possibility or the best outcome. One of the cool things about the Navajo people, they weave these beautiful rugs, and it's more like, instead of thinking of it as a thing to throw on the floor, it's more like an art piece or a tapestry. And they one of the traditions is that they won't weave if there is if the day is like really gloomy or cloudy or stormy. It has to be a clear blue sky is one of the things that I learned from a weaver that worked with my dad in the past down in New Mexico. And so in some sense it's almost like it helps bring clarity. That's kind of part of the idea, I think.
That is awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so what is a lesson that you've learned from those types of experiences? Like how would you sum that up?
I mean, besides just trying to take a breath and take a step back and just kind of I don't know, take a break from things to see the bigger picture. Because like sometimes when you get so focused on something, you can't see the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's mainly just trying to take a step back and see what's actually really going on with everything, like trying to be more honest about the entire situation.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so what about the word wholehearted? What does that mean to you?
Wholehearted. When I think of it, I think of like people that are very, like, really sincere and kind of vulnerable.
Yeah.
People that kind of put themselves out there.
Yeah. So do you have any examples of but like, who's somebody in your life that embodies that, and how have they impacted you?
Yeah, honestly, I think you are probably one person that I really think of when I think of wholehearted.
Thanks, Denise.
Just kind of backing up.
I'll send you your check later.
Thank you. Good. I do for that money. A lot of money. No, but yeah, seriously, like you and Chelsea are just like such awesome people, and you guys actually really, it's like work. You guys actually really work to reach out to people and have like that connection, and it's actually really inspiring to me because I'm kind of like a lone wolf, I guess. I'm really used to being alone, and I really like being alone, having a lot of alone time, but it's really awesome to have people like you and Chelsea in my life that are really genuinely good people and are actually have really good intentions. So, yeah.
Well, that's super kind of you. I'll be sure to let her know too. She would love to hear that kind of love and support. Okay, so well,
you're awesome.
Yeah, you're freaking awesome too, and that's part of the reason that it's actually not very much work whenever we reach out to you. There's definitely people where there's you reach out and you're like, I don't know this. We always butt heads, but I'm doing this. Here we go. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah, but we always look forward to hanging out with you and connecting with you. So what about, like how are you choosing in your own life? Like, what are some things you're doing in your own life to be wholehearted? And do you, and okay, and my perception of being wholehearted is it's kind of like an antidote to some of the fears, doubts, and negative beliefs that we have about ourselves. And so, do you have any negative uh, beliefs about yourselves, any fears or doubts um, that you have, and how do you combat them?
Yeah. Oh, you want to hear the long, long list of fears and doubts that I have about myself?
Yeah, go for it.
No, I'm kind of just kidding, but yeah, I mean, I think most girls kind of worry about they're always like worrying about what they look like all the time. That's always something that's on your mind, and it's kind of weird. Like since this COVID crazy stuff happened and we started working from home, and I've kind of taken that out of the equation. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice not having to think about that, and honestly, it kind of makes me a little bit more secure about what I actually just look like without makeup or anything, just like as a normal person. It kind of makes me feel a little bit better about myself for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I think it's like you get used to seeing yourself a certain way, so you don't like stress about it. I mean, it's all like perception that I have about myself, most of it, and I realize that, and it's just kind of hard to slough off. I don't know why,
yeah,
but it's definitely helped in a weird way. Just being able to sit at home by myself without makeup on, looking like a bum, it's like freeing in a way.
yeah. That's awesome. Um,
Yeah, it, yeah. I mean, like I had doubts doing like this interview too because I'm like I'm not interesting enough to talk to. Like I don't have like interesting things in my life, and that kind of negativity is just it's just not helpful. It's not true either. But it's like something
yeah,
that I told myself all the time. I don't know why. So I'm trying to get over that. I'm like, obviously, it should be obvious that everyone has like an interesting story.
yeah.
Even if it's something small, we can relate to each other in like small ways like that. But
That's absolutely true.
yeah,
I part of the reason that I enjoy doing these interviews so much is because I get to hear different perspectives and different stories from people that are have lives that are vastly different than mine. And I have been even maybe a little saddened by the how many people have said no, they're not interested, but it's because they don't think that they themselves have something valuable to offer, or that they have a unique perspective, or a story that is worthy of being told. And yeah, that's just like super sad to me. Um, because it kind of feels like there's like it's this indicator of worth in some ways, and perception, self-perception. And I wish that I could help people to see their value a little more clearly. And so I love when talking to you even right now, and you saying something like that, where it's like you were nervous about coming on because you confronted those types of questions. And I'm grateful that you confronted them and said, no, I'm going to do this. Um, because to me, I think you have an incredible story. um, you and I have gotten to work together I think we worked together for 3 years at FinFun, and I feel like you're one of the most interesting people that I met there, and um, but your personality is like a more background player. Like you enjoy being that background person, and having kind of a quieter approach, and that's not a good or bad thing. That's just a personality thing. That's just something that how you approach life, and that's okay. But I think a lot of times people associate that as being I'm because I'm not this big loud personality, I'm not an interesting person, and that's the wrong equation. I know that you are an interesting person because I've talked with you about very many interesting things, and your perspective is incredible. Like I I think you're hilarious. Your sense of humor is awesome, and you have this like awesome vibrancy that I think most people miss when they aren't or they don't recognize whenever um, we play small. I guess I don't know. That was a little bit of rambling, and also me trying to express how amazing I think you are, Denise.
Ugh, thanks. It has me so choked up. And I do feel that it's like hitting the nail on the head, honestly, because I'm not extroverted at all.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
everyone knows, like everyone at work knows that I'm so quiet. I don't talk very much, but I appreciate that because, yeah, I feel like there aren't a lot of people that are introverted around. So it feels like, since that's not the norm, it's wrong. So it really helps to hear that, and I appreciate that. So I'm just gonna ugly cry now.
Um, something you said earlier about your kind of your process with working on an art piece that I thought was really cool is how a lot of it is just your perspective, and when you stop and take that step back, like that's a critical part of the process sometimes. There's I was kind of telling you earlier, like um, about whenever I'm doing this project or these types of projects, I have this problem of looking at the numbers and wondering, like, am I making a difference in somebody's life? And I've got this journal entry where I wrote down a time where I was just super stressed out, feeling like worthless about the things that I was doing because I couldn't see that I couldn't see that I was doing anything good for somebody else, but I was trying really hard, and it felt like I was wasting my time, and it felt like my worth, I was associating it so heavily with numbers. And so I have this journal entry that's all about that experience, and the title of it, the way that it's spelt, is numbers. It's called numbering out, and the first four letters are in all caps, and it makes me feel numb whenever I focus too much on the things that don't matter, and instead what I should be focusing on is real connection and real meaningful relationships, and trying to discern like whether or not I'm making a difference that way versus any other way. And so having this conversation for me has been really good. For you to say those kind of things about Chelsea and I is really encouraging, to know that we're at least making a difference in somebody's life. And like one of the coolest paradoxes that I believe exists is that whenever we focus on one person and trying to do good in one person's life, one, it happens, like we're able to make that transaction powerful and meaningful. But then two, I think we end up influencing other people on a grand scale that you can't it's like you can't force that to happen. And so kind of going back to what you were saying with taking that step back, I recognize that whenever I take a step back and really look at the broader perspective, the whole point for me of this life is to try and fill my heart with light, and to share that light with other people. Like that is ultimately my goal. And
Mm-hmm.
you have been a person that has helped me to do that better, because of your personality and your approach and the way that you communicate with people. I've been kind of dumbfounded at your ability at gift giving. There's been a few times where you've surprised me with a gift, and not just on my birthday either, but like other times just like randomly, like thinking of me and knowing that it'd be something that would be cool for some project that I was doing or whatever I'm interested in. Like when you were like, we can't wait to come over to your apartment because I want to give you a housewarming gift. Chelsea and I were like, oh man, we are the worst friends. We have never considered doing that for anybody else. Like we are terrible gift givers, and you have made us want to be better and more thoughtful in that way. So, yeah, anyway, that's
Well,
again, a little bit more rambling.
yeah. I mean, you and Chelsea and your brother-in-law, what you're doing, I just like so wholeheartedly back it up, and I think it's so awesome. And yeah, I think people so really need this right now as well. They need that connection since we're all, like separated and alone.
Yeah.
So this is like so needed in this crazy times. So yeah, just keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks, Denise. It's cool is as you're saying that, the sun is actually just now cresting over the mountain for me. So I'm starting to get that blinded effect like you experienced like 20 minutes ago. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite feelings in the world, actually, is just when you've been sitting in darkness for a long time and you feel sunlight on your skin like this, and it's just that slow growing warmth. It just feels so good. Oh man. Well, do you have any other thoughts or feelings that you want to share? We've covered quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I guess I've been out here, like, my phone is so crappy. I have Boost Mobile. I was actually really worried that it wouldn't work out here. I'm like, maybe I should stay on my deck or something. But I live right
Yeah.
on the highway, and then I, obviously live in an apartment complex, so there's like tons of people that probably don't want to hear me jabbering on forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad it worked.
I'm glad it
And I
worked too.
really appreciate you inviting me to do this, because
Yeah.
stuff is something that I probably never would have done. But yeah, I really believe in what you're doing, and I think it's awesome. So I want to contribute what little I can to
Yeah.
help out.
Yeah. Well, you're the best, Denise.